First News with Keeler in the morning on WIBX and WIBX950.com.
Dave Zumpano is with the State Planning Law Center, and a lot of questions out there these days about doing everything. You can do everything online, right? You can do everything online.
Yeah. Yes, you can get hacked. You can get scammed. Taken advantage of.
David, good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Good morning. Always good to be with you, gentlemen.
You can do everything online, right? But you got to be careful.
Yep.
So I think that, and you know, we're seeing this, people being lured into this sort of thing today. Imagine what it's going to be like in 10 years. It just seems to be growing and growing. But a lot of times, that online software is going to let things kind of slip through the cracks.
Yeah, especially when it comes to estate planning, there are so many sites you can go online and do your estate plan. And there's good news and bad news about that, right? So obviously the good news is people have the flexibility to do it on their time schedule, right?
Yeah,
when you got to call an attorney and schedule appointments, I think I shared this with you last month. There's a study out there that says more than half of people polled said they would rather attend their own funeral than go see a lawyer. So I think, it's really kind of funny, right? Nobody wakes up in the morning and says, geez, I want to go see an attorney today. But, everyone wants attorneys. The nice thing about being an estate planning attorney, I could tell you personally, is I love the people I meet.
Yeah.
And you're able to help people. And, you see the difference when people plan and don't plan. So going back to those online systems, the good news is you can schedule on your time frame. If you work second shift and, you get home 11 o'clock at night and, you're wide awake and that would be when you do it. Who knows?
Right.
And it's cheaper, right? Way cheaper because you're not dealing with lawyers. You're dealing with computer websites that have taken basically simplified documents and put them on the web. So that's the good news. The bad news or the challenges with them, they're much less costly too, right?
Right.
I don't know if I mentioned that. The challenging part, though, is it a one-size-fits-all? Yes. Does it accompany your needs? Maybe, maybe not. It's kind of a crapshoot. And there's no really counsel and guiding. There's some examples I could tell you over the past where I've had people with very simple estates have very complex issues. And and I've had people with very high estates with very simple issues.
Mm-hmm.
And so people always come in and they don't even want to tell me how much money they have because they think that dictates how much a fee costs, right?
Right.
But a properly skilled attorney doesn't charge based on how much money someone has. They charge based on the planning strategy that someone's trying to implement, right? It's kind of like, if you want to buy a Chevy versus a Cadillac versus a Lexus or whatever.
Right.
So one of the things, that's important about online documents, is there a way to make both worlds meet? And that's kind of what we've tried to do here at the State Planning Law Center is that, we said, how do you serve people? How do you do it their way, on their schedule? Today, what COVID did, I always tell people COVID shut down the world, but it opened up our future.
Right.
And what I mean by that is I have a company that's virtual. I have 30 employees, and we're in 3 or 4 states. And we've been using Zoom for years. Then COVID hit, we couldn't get anyone to use Zoom, clients, things like that. It was few and far between. Since the pandemic, everyone has become accustomed to going online. I mean, nobody goes to grocery stores anymore. There's Instacart. There's all these different things. Same has become true with legal services, and I think other professional services are right down the pike.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I would equate it to doing your taxes online. There became a big push for, all the online services. And what do I have to go spend, I can spend $60 as opposed to spending the $300 it's going to cost me to get my taxes done or whatever.
Right.
The problem is there are always mistakes. And when you look at the data, you're not there to correct it. There's not an expert there to cross the T's and dot the I's.
I call it the 99%, Bill. Like, let's say this form works for 99% of the people. Let's just say you're not the 1%, right?
Right.
Somebody's got to be that 1%. You have an equal chance of being the 1% as everybody else does. So the bottom line is, one of the things that's fortunate, I have been fortunate over the last 20 plus years that I've, have had the opportunity to not only do my work locally for clients, but I've been teaching lawyers around the country for the last 20 years on how to do what we do right here locally. And they've all said to me, what are we going to do, Dave? So I actually have an interesting experience. I met a gentleman from Manchester, England, and he had recently sold his company. He had a computer development company. He had 80 or 90 engineers in it. And he sold this company out. I'll tell you the story because it's cute. He sold this company out with two other companies in a $3.5 billion deal. And their company is now a small company as Disney Plus.
Wow.
And so, this gentleman and I became friends, and he loved this idea. I said to him, Guy, his name is Guy, I said, we need to find a way to make lawyers be able to provide services to their clients on the client's terms. We have to simplify it. We have to digitize it and make it as easy as possible. He loved my idea, so we partnered over a year ago, and we've spent a year in development, and we've launched here locally, very exciting, and in 6 other locations across the country, a new online product that does what all those online estate planning sites do, but you're getting a real law firm behind it. So people are able to go on our website, click on the guider button, right? And they actually get access to our document system, and they get to create their own documents. They're just like the online. But the difference is, at any part in the process, they can click a button and access us for help.
Right.
Or say, look, this is too much. I want you guys to do it for me. So we have 3 approaches. Do it yourself, let us help you do it, or we'll do it for you. And that's really what we think is really clamoring throughout the industry and professional services and everything we do now. People want to be able to do things on their own terms.
I got to say, it's probably the smart move that you're making, because just take a look at the travel agencies. How many people now have left the physical travel agency, and they've gone now and they book their own stuff online. So unless you in your business becoming a part of the system, you're becoming a part of that online world. Where you can break away and get customer service. Sounds like that is the ticket to survival and being able to continue to grow your business and take care of people.
Well, the take care of people is an important thing. What we found, Bill, surprising, when we launched this back in March in 6 test cities, we found that the biggest people it was serving was the millennials, but the older millennials that have families. One of the things we always find, how many people, I'm sure there's a ton of people listening right now who are married and have children and don't have a will. I mean, can you imagine if something happens to them, how are we protecting the children, right? Yeah. And so we always say healthcare proxy is part of the attorney. So we're finding how many people raising a family have $1,000 to go sit in a lawyer's office and do estate planning, right? But to go online and do it for a couple $100 and know you have a law firm behind you, I think we said, look, we've got to make sure people get access to stuff. We can't make it so inhibitable that people go without it. And that's really where we're finding young people. We always say, hey, it's high school graduation time. When your kid turns 18, they need to have a healthcare proxy and power of attorney. Right. Otherwise, they go off to college, they get in a drunken stupor, you go to the hospital, they can't even tell you how he's doing because you don't have the healthcare proxy. So these are things, we got to keep things simple and make it easier for people to get access to these key documents that are so important, especially those with young families and those that don't have the time. To get in,
Which seems to be all of us. So, again, one of those things that came out of the pandemic that probably is not going to go anywhere. There's actually a spotlight on it to show us we probably need it. Estate Planning Law Center, Dave Zumpano, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Bill. Have a great day.
You do the same. Good work. Thanks so much.